Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales that we're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. The room was dimly lit, the faint glow of my computer screen casting eerie shadows on the walls. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but my mind refused to focus. Weeks had passed in this haze, days blending into nights, each moment heavier than the last. Something wasn't right. It felt like the air before a storm, thick, suffocating, charged with an unease I couldn't shake. My stomach churned as if it knew something I didn't. I tried convincing myself it was just life, the monotony, the grind, but deep down I knew better. Change was coming, and it wasn't going to be kind. 30 years. 30 years of marriage to Rachel. 30 years of love, laughter, and commitment. But lately, she'd been different. More affectionate, almost too much so. Playful in ways that felt rehearsed, like she was trying to make up for something. Something I couldn't quite put my finger on. And then there was Emily, our daughter, whose silence spoke louder than words. She'd been acting strange too, her usual warmth replaced by a quiet tension whenever I walked into the room. Last night, I decided to surprise Rachel. I came home early, clutching a bouquet of roses and a bottle of wine, ready to rekindle what I feared we were losing. But instead of finding her alone, I found Emily sitting at the kitchen table, her hands trembling as she fidgeted with her phone. Her face was pale, her lips pressed tight. When she looked up at me, I knew instantly something was wrong. "Dad," she said, her voice shaky, almost apologetic, "we need to talk." My heart skipped a beat. "Where's your mother?" I managed to ask, my voice steady despite the chaos brewing inside me. Emily hesitated, her eyes welling up. "She's not here," she whispered. Then, after a pause that felt like an eternity, she added, "But Dad, I think you need to hear this." My blood ran cold. Whatever she was about to say, I wasn't ready for it. But I had no choice. "Mom, she's been seeing someone else," Emily choked out, her voice barely audible. The words hit me like a freight train. I stood there, frozen, as the room spun around me. Rachel, my Rachel, had betrayed me. And now, my own daughter was delivering the truth I hadn't wanted to hear. The flowers slipped from my hand, their thud echoing through the silence of the house. My chest tightened, my legs went weak. Everything I thought I knew about my life, my family, crumbled in an instant. "Where is she?" I finally asked, my voice cracking. Emily's tears streamed down her face as she replied, "She's with him. At a restaurant." Rachel and I had built a life together, a solid one, or so I thought. We met in college, two wide-eyed kids chasing dreams we weren't even sure we understood yet. She was radiant back then, with her fiery red hair and laugh that could light up the darkest corners of any room. I fell hard and fast, and when she said yes to marrying me, it felt like the universe had aligned perfectly. For 3 decades, we shared everything. Triumphs, failures, quiet mornings sipping coffee, late-night conversations about nothing and everything. Our bond seemed unbreakable. But somewhere along the way, cracks began to form, tiny fissures I either ignored or failed to notice. Work consumed me. I buried myself in projects, promotions, deadlines. Rachel would joke about how I spent more time in boardrooms than bedrooms, but beneath her teasing tone lay a sadness I dismissed. She stopped asking me to help her hang pictures or plan vacations. The little things, the touches, the glances, they faded until they became ghosts of what once was. I told myself we were fine. People drift apart sometimes, don't they? It's normal. Or so I convinced myself. Then came the changes. Over the past few months, Rachel transformed into someone unfamiliar. Suddenly, she was cooking elaborate dinners, wearing dresses she hadn't touched in years, laughing louder, smiling wider. At first, I thought it was sweet, a second win for us, perhaps. But soon, the gestures felt forced, mechanical, like she was performing some role she didn't fully believe in. Meanwhile, Emily grew quieter, retreating into herself. Her usual chatter dwindled to monosyllabic answers during meals, her gaze avoiding mine whenever Rachel entered the room. That night, when Emily finally broke the news, pieces of the puzzle clicked into place. Rachel wasn't rediscovering herself. She was hiding something. Someone. Mark, apparently. A friend of Emily's, she said. The revelation gutted me. Not just because Rachel had betrayed me, but because she had done it under my nose, using our daughter as a shield. Every smile, every touch, every word between us now felt tainted, like shards of glass, slicing deeper with each memory. How could she do this? To me? To us? And then there was Emily, my bright, beautiful girl, caught in the crossfire of her mother's deceit. She sat across from me, tears streaming down her face, guilt etched into every line of her expression. I didn't know how to stop her, she whispered, her voice breaking. She said she needed this, Dad. She said she needed someone who saw her. I wanted to scream, to demand why she hadn't come to me instead of turning to another man. But looking at Emily, I realized she was as much a victim as I was. Rachel had manipulated us both, weaving a web of lies that left neither of us untouched. As I processed everything, anger simmered beneath the surface. Betrayal clawed at my chest, raw and relentless. But alongside the fury was something darker, sharper, a desire for revenge. Rachel thought she could destroy our family without consequences. She thought she could walk away unscathed. Oh no, if she wanted a war, she'd get one. And I wouldn't stop until I made sure she regretted every single lie. Rachel's betrayal wasn't just a fleeting affair. It was a meticulously crafted deception, woven thread by thread over months. She played her part flawlessly, ensuring I never suspected a thing. Every detail of her routine screamed normalcy. Waking up early to prepare breakfast, attending yoga classes twice a week, volunteering at the local library on Saturdays. To the outside world, and to me, she was the picture of contentment. But behind closed doors, she was living a double life. Mark, the man she chose to replace me, wasn't just anyone. He was charming, successful, and dangerously manipulative. A lawyer in his mid-40s, he exuded confidence and charisma, traits that made him irresistible to women like Rachel who craved validation. They met through Emily, of all people. Apparently, Mark had been mentoring her in some extracurricular program, and Rachel, ever the doting mother, insisted on meeting him to thank him personally. One coffee turned into dinner, dinner into secret rendezvous, and before long, they were inseparable. Their affair unfolded in plain sight, disguised as innocent encounters. Rachel would claim she was catching up with friends or running errands, while Mark conveniently adjusted his schedule to accommodate her. They communicated through burner phones, encrypted messages, and coded phrases only they understood. Even Emily, unwittingly complicit, helped cover for Rachel's absences, believing her mother's excuses about needing space to reconnect with herself. The irony was staggering. Rachel used our daughter to orchestrate her betrayal, all while pretending to be the devoted wife and mother. What hurt most wasn't just the act of infidelity itself, but the lengths Rachel went to hide it. She erased texts, deleted call logs, and timed her comings and goings to perfection. On the rare occasions I questioned her whereabouts, she deflected with ease, spinning tales so convincing I never doubted them. Once, I asked why she smelled faintly of cologne, not mine, and she laughed it off, saying she must have brushed against someone at the mall. Another time, I noticed lipstick smudged on her collar, and she claimed it belonged to a co-worker who hugged her goodbye. Each lie layered atop the last, creating a fortress of deceit I couldn't penetrate. Even now, knowing the truth, I replayed those moments in my mind, searching for signs I might have missed. Hadn't she seemed distracted during family dinners? Didn't her laughter ring hollow sometimes? Why hadn't I seen the crack sooner? The realization gnawed at me, fueling my anger and resolve. Rachel didn't just cheat on me. She dismantled our entire life, brick by brick, and left me holding the rubble. But if she thought she could escape unscathed, she was dead wrong. Revenge wasn't just an option anymore. It was a necessity. The days following Emily's confession blurred into a haze of rage and despair. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Every waking moment was consumed by thoughts of Rachel and Mark, their betrayal festering like an open wound. My mind raced with possibilities. How far was I willing to go? What lines was I prepared to cross? Revenge wasn't just about making Rachel pay. It was about reclaiming control, asserting dominance over the chaos she had unleashed. I needed a plan, something calculated yet devastating enough to leave her questioning every decision she'd ever made. At first, the ideas were reckless. Confrontations in public places, exposing her affair to mutual friends, even sabotaging her career. But these impulses lacked finesse, offering only fleeting satisfaction. No, true revenge required patience, precision. It had to cut deeper than embarrassment or shame. It had to dismantle her carefully constructed facade, piece by piece. That's when inspiration struck, leverage Mark against her. If Rachel thought she could use my daughter to conceal her sins, I could turn the tables and exploit her weakness for him. The execution began subtly. Using information gleaned from Emily's reluctant confessions, I pieced together Mark's routines. He frequented a high-end gym downtown, attended networking events regularly, and indulged in expensive hobbies like golf and wine tasting. Each detail provided an opening, a way to infiltrate his world unnoticed. First, I created a fake social media profile under the guise of a business associate eager to collaborate. Through carefully crafted messages, I gained his trust, feeding him tidbits of fabricated opportunities designed to draw him closer. Meanwhile, I monitored Rachel's movements, noting when she visited his apartment or met him at secluded cafes. The real masterstroke came when I discovered Mark's Achilles heel, his reputation. As a lawyer, his image was everything, and any hint of scandal could ruin him professionally. Armed with this knowledge, I orchestrated a series of anonymous tips to influential figures in his circle, colleagues, clients, even his boss, all suggesting impropriety in his personal life. The whispers spread like wildfire, planting seeds of doubt that would eventually take root. By the time Rachel realized what was happening, it was too late. Her perfect lover was unraveling, his polished exterior cracking under the weight of suspicion. But the piece de resistance awaited. Knowing Rachel's fragile ego, I arranged for a staged encounter between her and Mark at a charity gala they both planned to attend. With cameras flashing and eyes watching, I ensured they were cornered together, forcing them to confront the growing rift between them publicly. As accusations flew and tempers flared, their relationship imploded spectacularly, leaving Rachel humiliated and exposed. Watching her crumble, I felt a twisted sense of satisfaction. Justice may not have been served, but balance had been restored. And in that moment, I knew I had won. The aftermath of Rachel's downfall left our household fractured beyond repair. Emily, caught in the crossfire of my vengeance, retreated further into herself, her guilt manifesting in sleepless nights and hollow stares. She avoided me, her footsteps soft and deliberate, as though afraid to disturb the fragile peace that remained. Conversations between us dwindled to terse exchanges about school or chores, each word laced with unspoken tension. Gone were the days of shared laughter over breakfast or lazy afternoons watching movies together. Now, the silence between us was deafening, a chasm widened by secrets and resentment. Rachel, stripped of her illusions and alliances, became a shadow of her former self. Her once vibrant energy dissolved into brittle fragility, her movements slow and mechanical. She moved through the house like a ghost, avoiding eye contact and speaking only when necessary. Meals were eaten separately, plates cleared in silence. Nights stretched endlessly, the absence of intimacy replaced by cold indifference. I watched her unravel, torn between satisfaction and a gnawing emptiness. This wasn't the woman I had loved or hated for 30 years. This broken shell bore little resemblance to either version of her. For me, the emotional toll was insidious, creeping into every corner of my existence. Anger still simmered beneath the surface, but it was accompanied by exhaustion, a weariness that seeped into my bones. Sleep eluded me, plagued by vivid dreams of confrontation and collapse. During the day, I threw myself into work, burying my pain beneath spreadsheets and deadlines. Yet, no matter how busy I kept myself, the weight of what I had done lingered, haunting me like a specter. Was this victory worth the cost? Had my quest for justice merely perpetuated the cycle of destruction Rachel started? One evening, unable to bear the suffocating quiet any longer, I confronted Emily. Sitting beside her on the couch, I braced myself for the storm I knew would follow. "We can't keep living like this," I began, my voice heavy with emotion. "This distance between us, it's killing me." Emily flinched, her eyes filling with tears. "You think I wanted this?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "I didn't ask for any of this, Dad. You made Mom suffer, and now we're all paying the price." Her words cut deeper than I expected, forcing me to confront the collateral damage of my actions. I did what I thought was right. I countered, though the conviction in my voice faltered. "She betrayed us, Emily. Both of us. Don't you see that?" She shook her head, her gaze piercing. "No, Dad. You betrayed us too. Your revenge didn't fix anything. It just broke us more." Her honesty stung, but it also ignited something within me, a flicker of clarity amidst the chaos. Maybe she was right. Maybe revenge hadn't healed the wounds. It had only deepened them. As we sat there, surrounded by the ruins of our family, I realized the hardest battle wasn't against Rachel or Mark. It was against myself. And if there was any hope of redemption, it would begin with forgiveness. In the weeks that followed, I found myself standing at a crossroads, grappling with the wreckage of my choices. The house, once filled with laughter and warmth, now echoed with emptiness. Rachel had moved out, leaving behind a void that no amount of furniture or memories could fill. Emily and I tiptoed around each other, our interaction strained but tinged with a tentative hope. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet, but it was a start. I knew I couldn't undo the damage I'd caused, but perhaps I could rebuild something new, something stronger. One evening, as dusk painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, I stumbled upon an old photo album tucked away in the closet. Its leather cover was worn, its pages yellowed with age. Flipping through it, I was transported back to a time when life felt simpler, purer. There we were, young, carefree, eyes sparkling with dreams yet unbroken. A pang of grief washed over me, not just for the loss of Rachel, but for the man I used to be. Somewhere along the way, I had lost sight of who I was, allowing bitterness and betrayal to consume me. But staring at those faded photographs, I realized something crucial. I still had a choice. I could let the past define me, or I could rise above it. The turning point came during a conversation with Emily. She approached me one night, her demeanor softer, less guarded. "Dad," she began, her voice hesitant but sincere, "I don't want us to stay stuck in this anger forever. We've both been hurt, but maybe it's time to forgive. Not just Mom, but ourselves." Her words struck a chord deep within me. Forgiveness wasn't about excusing Rachel's betrayal or absolving myself of my mistakes. It was about freeing ourselves from the chains of resentment. It was about choosing to move forward, even if the path ahead was uncertain. Slowly, painfully, I began the process of healing. I sought therapy, pouring out years of pent-up emotions in sessions that left me drained but lighter. I reached out to old friends, reconnecting with people I had pushed away in my anger. And most importantly, I worked on rebuilding my relationship with Emily. We started small, sharing meals, taking walks, talking about everything except the betrayal. Bit by bit, the walls between us crumbled, replaced by a fragile but growing trust. Looking back, I see now that revenge didn't bring me closure. It only prolonged the pain. True strength lies not in destruction, but in resilience. In learning to forgive, I discovered a newfound sense of purpose. Life will never be the same as it was before Rachel's betrayal, but perhaps that's okay. Sometimes, endings are simply beginnings in disguise. And as I sit here today, watching Emily laugh at something on her phone, I feel a quiet certainty settle over me. The road ahead won't be easy, but for the first time in a long time, I'm ready to face it, with hope, with courage, and with the unwavering belief that redemption is always possible.